Good morning, bro. So yesterday, oh, cheers, by the way. Not drinking coffee anymore. This is like mint tea. Yesterday I started the detox protocol and I've been taking this like liver cleanse. So I've got I think about like, I don't know, $5,000 of like supplements and things to go through. And when I mentioned this in a previous video, some people were pissed off and they were like, oh, well, Hamza, you've changed. Like, what are you talking about? Like, you know, these things are so expensive. We can't relate to this and stuff. And like, the thing is, I could hide what I'm doing, or I could just kind of, you know, talk to you a little bit. I'm not going to walk you through like the steps of what to buy and stuff, because you just, no offense, you probably can't afford it. And I don't mean to be a dick, but just like, if younger me was watching this, right? But at the same time, like, if younger me was watching this, I think he would be interested to see, okay, when you make a fuck ton of money, what can you do to improve your health? And this is one of them. So this, what I'm making right now, is like a liver cleanse. And if I showed you a picture of my poop yesterday, okay, listen to this. Ooh. It's like Steven and shit. Cheers, bro. Oh, it's leaked as well. Fuck. It tastes like vinegar. Like, you know, when you go to when you go to a fancy restaurant and they leave out vinegar and olive oil with like the bread and stuff, it tastes like that. So what I'll do, if you're interested in this protocol that I'm doing, this isn't the biggest part of like the Superhuman Brain and Body. I think that this might be about 5 to 20% of it. From what I've felt so far, the biggest part of improving your brain and your body is probably going to be your diet. And that's what we'll be focused on. But we'll also, in the series, we'll also be focused on like random strategies we can use, like breath work, like a certain, you know, breathing protocol, environment, making sure there's no mold in your house. We'll be going through this. Like, I'm learning this all alongside you. And yesterday, me and my girl, actually, we watched the podcast of this brain expert, Dr. Amen. And I just had the idea that maybe I'll start to interview some of those like brain and body experts for this series. And so I can ask them questions and we'll just upload the videos here for free. So if you're interested in that and you want to see me like interview like scientists and, you know, like nerds basically who like know what they're talking about, and I'll upload it here. The reason why I want to do that is like there's so many guys who know like the real science with evidence and everything, and the knowledge is basically locked behind either their own brain or like the research papers that they put out that like almost no one uses. And so if they put out a research paper and like 200 people read it, it's like it hasn't helped that many people. They come onto this podcast and we get 20,000 views, and it's like suddenly it's like 1,000 times more valuable to the world. I think they'd be down. And also for you as the viewer, it's like you'll get to watch me ask the kind of questions that I would, which are, you know, like simple, plain English. I'm not afraid to tell like a scientist like, oh wait, I don't understand that. Can you like, you know, tell me in a way that I'll understand? Which means that we're all like actually really benefiting from like the newest age science that's telling people like how to optimize their brains. And yesterday, after watching this podcast, I ended up watching a couple of videos from Dr. K. So he's a YouTuber, a psychiatrist who does like live streaming for video gamers. And his channel is Healthy Gamer GG. I just thought I'd finish that off. Yeah. And I was watching a few of his videos on ADHD. And I might actually have ADHD. I'm not like trying to be one of those guys who, you know, the blue-haired feminists who they all think they've got ADHD. I'm not trying to be like that, but actually I relate to some of the symptoms. So from what I remember yesterday, the symptoms of ADHD or ADD, you don't have to actually be hyperactive. Like, you don't have to be, you know, like energetic and flipping around or anything, but rather it's that you have what's a weird dichotomy, like a counterintuitive level of focus, where you'll have hyper focus, but also a problem with focus. So for example, When there's something that you care about, you can be hyper focused on it to the point that if someone asks you a question, like it pisses you off and you almost can't even acknowledge their human existence. But at the same time, if there's something that doesn't interest you, it is like so difficult, if not even impossible, for you to be able to focus on that thing. And there's other traits as well. And, you know, you might have these symptoms, but not actually have ADHD or whatever, but we can learn some things from this anyway. And whilst I was like studying a little bit of it, I couldn't help but just to think that I would have been so worse off if it wasn't for 3 key habits that I've done that, like, I've not had clinical ADHD. I've never, like, I'm not going to go to the doctor for it and take some fucking drugs or anything. I'm going to fix it myself because, like, I assume it's like a modern day problem, and I can't imagine our caveman ancestors had it. And so there's 3 things I've done which has increased my attention span, and that's gotten me closer to like a superhuman brain that can actually focus on work. It can be present with people I love, and it's not constantly flipping around. And when I see people who have the same kind of brain that I did, who have that kind of like ADHD brain, I just feel, 1, sorry for them, but 2, in a bad way, like I also feel like I'm almost looking down upon them, thinking like, bro, it only took me like a few weeks to fix this problem. So the fact that you haven't is like, I don't have that much respect for you, because the path is clear to increase your attention span and to reduce like these kinds of symptoms of, you know, your brain fucking around. 3 things: meditation, reading, long form content. So meditation, meditate for 5 to 10 minutes every single day for the rest of your life. If you don't start today, you're a pussy. Simple as that. Just meditate every single day for the rest of your life and your attention span will go up. You don't have to go up to anything crazy, half an hour, 1 hour. Just do 5 to 10 minutes every single day for the rest of your life. Simple. As you go through the day, you'll also get little reminders of like, oh man, you know, I'm not being present. Just come back to the same meditative mindset. Most people meditate wrong, and they meditate in a way that gives them a mental health problem because they have the wrong belief of what meditation is. Meditation is not clearing your mind of thoughts. Meditation is the act of getting distracted and bringing your attention back to the thing that you were focusing on. You're focusing on your breath, you get distracted, you realize you're distracted, focus back onto your breath. Every time you do that, that's 1 rep. That's like 1 bicep curl for your brain. Many people start meditation thinking that their brain's just going to be still straight away. And they're like, oh man, I thought of something. I can't meditate, bro. That's like a fat guy going into the gym and saying like, oh, but I can't bench press 7 plates right now, so there's no point. No, you just don't understand the basics because you've never even searched up like online how to meditate, what meditation is, right? Don't bullshit yourself. You watch some like little cringe video, but like if you go and watch like some really educational guides on how to do it, or if you read some like articles online, this is how I learned to meditate. And I realized very quickly, the act of meditation is not keeping your focus like without thinking. It's specifically getting a random thought, which then you return your focus. Meditation is like the focused like habit of returning your focus after it gets distracted. You return your focus after it gets distracted. You don't try to not get distracted, because you 100% will get distracted. All you're trying to do is get as many reps as possible, returning your focus back to the breath. Return your focus back to the breath. Return your focus back to the breath. That's step 1. Step 2, I would be nowhere without reading books. I tried reading like summaries, like there was one, we've only ever taken, I think, 1 sponsor on the main channel before. And I took a sponsor called a company called Shortform, which is basically like an app and a website that writes down like summaries of books. And I felt like that wasn't so valuable for me. So I basically just stopped working with them. What I've found is the most valuable is like you read just a full book from like the front to basically the end of a book that you're really interested in, like the topic, like, you know, like for me, it's like business books. I just fucking love them, right? So read all that. Naturally, as you're reading and it's kind of like a meditative practice, because as you're reading, your mind will go elsewhere and you'll get a random thought. And the idea is you just meditate on the book, where you just return your attention back onto the book. So you could do this today as a way to not only learn from the book, but also to improve your attention span, which will genuinely help you in the rest of life. And it will help you counteract the degeneracy, the dopamine addiction of what's happening today. So return your attention back onto the book every time you lose some of the presence. It's very important that you choose a book that you have chosen, and it's also very important that you Read the book that you actually want to read today. People have the wrong idea about reading. They have some like weird, basically most people don't read enough because they are still conditioned like they were in school, which was that you got assigned a book that you didn't want to read and you've got to read that book, and that's the book that you're currently reading. It's like, yep, that's the book that I'm currently on, but I don't want to read it, which means that I'm not going to read. That's not smart. Instead, there should be at the very least 5 books that you're currently reading, and you should have absolutely zero friction in starting to read another book wherever your curiosity takes you, especially if you have this kind of like ADHD kind of brain, like, you know, this brain that flips around, that takes an interest in one thing and then completely forgets about it and focuses on the other. The best habit you can get into is literally just reading whatever like book you currently want to today, and never ever force yourself to think, oh no, but I've already opened up like a previous book, I've got to finish that one off first. You'll hate reading if you do that. Reading is by far the best way to get knowledge, in my opinion. I've got tens of thousands of dollars of coaching, mentorship. I've got courses which are $5,000, training, workshops, in real life events, all these things that I've invested into. Still to this day, reading is, in my opinion, the best way to get knowledge, because in 6 hours you can literally just like basically learn from the master who's distilled it all for you into one piece of content. It's very valuable. And so it's so important for you to get into reading, not only to get the knowledge, but also to improve your attention span. And the third one, which I really like, is long form content on YouTube. So when you look for, like, for example, my full guides, you look at Andrew Huberman's podcast, you look at unedited videos by podcasters, you know, YouTubers like First Man, for example. He'll post like a video which is 30 minutes and it's just him talking. The exact same thing you should be doing there. Watch it because you're interested. Watch the current video because you care about that topic right now. And inevitably your brain will actually jump over and your mind will wander and your monkey mind will like kind of run away and think about something else. When that happens, don't entertain that new thought. Just bring the attention back to the video. And that's like, again, 1 rep of returning your attention back. You do these 3 habits over literally just 2 weeks, you will feel a significant improvement in any kind of like symptoms that you have of ADHD, but more importantly, just basically improving your attention span. So when I meet guys who don't do this and I can see physically that they have a short attention span, I'll be totally honest, as someone who had that myself, this sounds kind of mean, but it's like, I'm not going to be friends with anyone who's got a short attention span. I'm not going to respect anyone. I'm not going to do business with anyone that I can see has a short attention span. No, like, think about, like, we're all, like, let's be honest, we all care about ourselves. I'm not going to spend time with someone who I can see his brain doesn't really work that well. And I'm being honest to you. I know I sound mean, but this is what most people are thinking, but they'll never actually speak honestly with you. Because if you're honest as well, you probably wouldn't want to be around someone whose brain doesn't work properly. And as you're talking to him, trying to open up and deepen your friendship, you can see that he's not even like present. You can see that he's literally entertaining some of the thought in his mind. It's very hard to respect a person who has a short attention span. And this is what like basically everyone is becoming these days. And so these 3 habits, meditation, reading, and long form content, will really help you counteract that. One warning I will give you when you go down this path though is you do these 3 things and you are going to be very lonely. Because your standards for relationships, once your attention span goes up, will skyrocket. You will demand attention in your friendships and your relationships, and you're going to realize just how many people have a broken brain, and you are going to be lonelier than you are right now. When your brain isn't working so well and you've got a short attention span, you can be friends with someone else and you don't really realize that there's a problem. When your attention span improves, and you'll start to physically see it in other people when their brain's jumping around and everything. You'll literally see them twitch a little bit as they think about some random thought, and they'll mouth like some random word. You know, they're almost talking to themselves because they're like literally playing a mental movie in their mind while spending time with you. You're going to find it very hard to be able to spend time with people. That's the dark side, but the lights at the end of this tunnel is that there are some people out there who are doing these habits, who meditate every day, who journal, who read, who watch like maybe long form, who don't even watch anything, who don't have any social media. There really are people like that. When you find one of them, if it's like a beautiful girl, then hold her down like I did. That's all for today, bro. Cheers. and I'll see you tomorrow, same time. Yeah, I think did I mention it in, not this video, sorry, but I've just started this like daily podcast on Spotify. It's basically just like audio of me giving self-improvement advice, and I'll link that in this video in the channel description. It's very much for like younger guys who are in high school, who are 14, 15, 16, 17 years old. So if you've got a little brother or you're in that age group, or maybe you can still click on it and see if it still interests you, that's going to be where I'm just posting like an extra bit of value. And the idea is like, I just don't want young guys to be listening to like degenerate music on the way to school, or when you're doing your chores, or when you're going to the gym. So it's like 10 minutes a day, and you can just listen to more of a positive message. All of it's on Spotify. It's the top link in the description. Go click that right now, and I'll see you tomorrow, bro. Do the hard work, especially when you don't feel like it. Mwah.